Hi YouTube. I got a question for you. Have you ever wondered how to turn something like this into something like this? Curious? Come on, let me show you. Here we go. So I was a little distracted by the noise thing he was reading, that why it was so high. So we're going to start with doing our layout. This is a future egg. Might as well get this where you can see it. But they are perfectly round. Well, round enough for my needs. So I get our circle made. And then I just grab a pen blank that happens to be laying. Sorry about that, here next to me. And we just take that down on both sides. Then if you want your handle a little longer, you can extend it out however far you want it. And because that's all the farther I want to take it. Alright. Throw a little rounded part in there. Sorry, it's hard to see. Camera's not well, at least on my screen, it's not picking it up very well. But I can see it great. And then we turn on our bandsaw. And we're going to cut it up. Let's save that little piece for later. And if I was smart, I would have put this over further, except that not right there. I don't want that in the middle of my handle because it's likely to break there. I might be able to get a smaller one out of this, but that's why it's not over, so I can actually get two. If you can't tell, I don't have a good scrolling blade in this for doing this particular operation, but it's good enough. But that's why I'll have to cut little pieces off. I had that right there. And that's spoon blank. While I'm thinking about it, so did you guys know that you can support me for not spending a cent by hitting the like button, subscribing, and sharing my videos? Doesn't cost you a cent. Helps the algorithm see me a whole lot more, and it's totally free for you. It just takes 3 clicks. Just wanted to throw that out there. Thanks. Bye. Okay, so my battery is fairly low, so I'm going to take this as long as I can before I switch it out, because all my other batteries are on a charger. Don't mind the mess back there. This is this set part of my shop I'm going through. I was going to do this sitting outside, but it's raining, so I can't. So this is a diamond stone. We're gonna start here with a Sloyd knife, and I just got the low battery notice, so this knife hasn't been used all that much, so I'm just gonna use the finest side I have to put a little bit of an edge on it. And really this is more just honing than anything. I usually do 3 passes per side, sometimes 4. You just want to just keep it even, whatever you do. You can do 10, you could do 20, but I was just counting it yesterday, even though I always thought sorry about that, my battery died, and then I went to, so you guys just saw me putting on the my blade onto one of my sharpeners, which I just thought I just found my better one. And by better, it's just a finer grit than what it sharpens to, but I don't see where I put it now. No, well, 600 is still pretty decent for what I'm doing. Yeah, I don't see it anywhere. Could have swore I put it right next to me. By the way, I'm giving you guys a hug now. Alright, so anyway, now we gotta strop this knife, so we're gonna put a little polish on this leather. So we just put a fair bit of that on there. I don't need my sharpener in my hand, I need my blade. And you always go backwards on your strop. When I do it when I'm done, I'll finish up on the finer side. Never actually looked up how to use one of these, so. And right there, you can see where that thing is sharp enough to shave off of. So now we're going to go on to our spoon blank. We're just going to start with Alright, we're actually gonna switch to a different knife here real quick. I've been doing this for a little bit, so I've learned my preferences for the knives I prefer when I prefer to use them. And this is called a roughing knife. I forgot to grab the, I usually put little wraps on my thumbs just to help give me a little cushion, but for one spoon I'll be fine today. And you just keep taking it down. Again, I'll apologize if I keep hitting the camera. So I'm just going to take this down. I'm going to get this out of my way while I do some work. I'll set you guys off to the side so you can see a little better. And yeah, the reason why I like this roughing knife for this part, because I really don't know how I want to record this. I'm just kind of talking. I took the high spot off of there and, like, what was that, 5 cuts? It just rips wood out. So for the most part, that's pretty well shaped up. I do want to take this down thinner, but at this point I want to start getting the rough side of this off. Not too crazy about how that side looks, but hey. But before I do all that, I do need to touch my blade up a little bit. So just like the other one. I like using this knife to get a lot of the heavy cutting done. It is thinner. It's a little, with it being maybe, what is that? Maybe 2 inches long. It's it'll really rip off wood quickly and effectively. And the blade itself is thinner than my slid knife, which gives you it really lets you get in there to the wood and get everything off. I don't know why I'm doing it that way, because this way is much more effective. If you ever see me missing hair on the videos, this is why. Because sometimes I use my knee or my leg. When I'm not recording this, I'll actually pull it up and take hair off my leg where you can't see. That way I don't have to be like, oh yeah, I was just doing some whittling and checking knife sharpness, because people look at you like you're some kind of freak when you say that. Not quite sure why, but hey. Alright, now this is, take that off of there. And right now I'm just trying to get this as smooth as possible to hold, because it's a lot easier on your hands to not have those jagged points cutting into them. And now for this, we're going to figure out which way the grain is going, and we're just going to start taking a little bit off all the way around, and the way it's peeling, I think this one's actually going to be nice and easy. we're going to grab my small detail knife. So yes, this is about 3/4 of an inch long. It's actually one of the first carving knife I ever bought a few years ago, because I've fooled around with this a little bit off and on. But lately it's just been super relaxing, so I've been doing a lot of it. And like I was saying before, those thin knives, you can really get under there and rip wood off, which sometimes is a great thing to be able to do, and other times it's not. Sorry, one second. Oh, all right. Popping the old neck. All right, I'm gonna stop here. I'm gonna set you guys over to the side because I keep bumping this thing because, like I say, I mean, you're literally like right between my legs right now. I don't want to get this too jerky, plus it keeps going out of focus. So, all right, and we're back. All right. And I'm going back to the roughing knife because I got a little bit of that out of the way. And now, because I want to get the front end, I want to get the front end thinner, because I want it to come up to about there eventually. I just start cutting at a little bit of an angle and just trying to get to go down into the front. I'm already killing my thumb. I'll be back in a minute. And I'm gonna get, as I drop that, nice thing about when you drop wood and you got a longer knife, I'm gonna put something on my thumb because it's already starting to hurt a little bit. And it's just that self-adhering medical wrap. It's nothing fancy, but then I'm just gonna finish the bottom side of this. I'll do the last couple, or I'm just gonna get it roughed out, and then when we're done, I'll just do the rest of it and you can see the process for the rest of the bottom. So we got the bottom all done. Yes, it does still look rough. That's why I call them rustic spoons. I don't claim to be a professional here. So now we got to start hogging the middle of this out. And for that, I prefer a hook knife. You can also use one of my Harbor Freight special gouges that I was trying out. I mean, it's works just but the reason I don't like using this is because right there I just took a hunk out of the front of the spoon and gouged down into a little bit. So hook knife it is. And usually I'll start by, I just want a stop line basically, because it'll help with the wood splintering off and taking more off than I want. So it's kind of hard to see in some of these angles, and then I just go down and start pulling stuff out. just start peeling wood. And if you do this right, by the time you're done, you actually don't need to do any sanding. Everybody I've been watching on YouTube that talks about making these, they talk about just giving it a knife finish, which is where you catch it. You kind of use the edge of the knife to burnish it a little bit. Ow. For the record, that didn't cut, it just whacked me. And it was pokey, and I did not appreciate the feeling of it on my soft hand of flesh. And that's a bit hard to see, but we're about that deep in at the deepest spot. This is starting to feel like I'm digging it out more than I'm cutting it. So I need my other strop, because I also have a strop right here that's just for hook knives. This here is a piece of sandpaper that you just it does not take much as long as you're taking care of your edge. Now we're just going to use the leather part to strop it off. And believe it or not, that is such a sharper edge now, it's not funny. Then we're going to flip this spoon around. And I'll cut into the grain a few times just to dig it down, and then come in from the side. And start to take it. And I am using all of my fingers to help pull a knife, because I use these fingers to pull, and I didn't realize I was out of frame. Let me raise you guys up here really quick. I'm going to do this off camera. My original plan was to try to do this on my workbench, which is right there. Right there. Sorry, I'm looking at the screen upside down too, which throws me off a little. But I've got another, I found a cedar chest on the side of the road that I'm thinking about restoring, or there might be a different story behind it, but I don't really want to go into it. But we'll just say I found it and I'm refinishing it for someone, and yeah. Now, That's an almost perfectly dug out bowl. The problem is I'm having a hard time getting my hook knife to bite in anywhere else. So we are going, now is when I like to, where'd it go? I just had that thing here a minute ago. There it is. It was under my strap. We're going to use the Harbor Freight Special. And I'm just going to hollow a little bit of it out, going cross grain one way, then we'll go back through the other way. Sorry. How? Alright, now we got that roughed up a little bit. And we'll go back to the hook knife to and we just keep hollowing away. This is actually getting about as deep as I wanted, and that's why I rough out the bottom, and then I'll go in for the final shape once I'm done with this part, so I don't have to worry about cutting too deep with this one, because this knife is a bit harder to control. And one of the other kits I picked up, I do have a different shaped hook knife. Let me see if we can get a little more out of this before we call it. Alright, and that's the bowl of the spoon, good to go. Now we're going to go back to the Sloyd knife. Make sure we still got a nice edge, which we do. And now I'm just going to knock off the rough edges. Going this way, when you sometimes with the grain direction you need to cut the other way just to be able to keep it looking smooth and better. But this is all about also having a knife finish so I can minimize how much sanding, if any at all, that I have to do. Sorry, sometimes I hold this up into my stomach and it helps a little bit. Now we got to smooth up this little rough patch here where I want a little too deep. And then we'll feather that in with a few facets in between. It's very similar to cutting gemstones doing this, because when you're done, when you're looking at it, you want them to actually to where you want to make them look good. And then where this piece chipped out, and no, it's never advisable to cut towards yourself. However, I'm only using finger strength, and I didn't realize I was out of frame. I was doing this, but I'm using a sawing action where I'm actually moving the knife down the edge instead of pulling it straight. There's all kinds of tricks to be able to do this kind of thing safely. And if you're watching somebody, you might not necessarily know everything they're doing, but because I had a few people at the last show I was at when I was doing this in person commenting on how that doesn't look very safe. That type of cutting is not. No. This is the one I want. You never want to be holding the blade while you're cutting like I just almost did. I'm fairly good with a knife in my hand, but I don't want to tempt fate. Now we're just gonna go around and chip the edge a little bit. Just get these little chips in there. Sorry, I keep going out of frame, but I am trying to Keep this thing looking as good as possible. Tip of my knife cut into the bottom of that a little bit. Alright, and all of our cuts are gone. We got a few around the edge I still don't like right back here. And then this is where you just kind of do everything else by feel. Figure that up. Alright, now that this is done, I want to thin out through here, which we're going to go back to my Sloyd knife. We haven't done very much cutting with it, so it should be good to go. And now we'll just and so I'm not talking much as during some of this. It does require a fair bit of thought. Alright. Now we're going to grab what's called a detail knife, which it's a shorter version of the roughing knife. And now we're just going to smooth some of these rougher edges up. And now we're just going to go around the edge and smooth this up. Sure hope so. So, died out when we were putting the last few little cuts on there, and I see I missed a couple. So, we're gonna fix that here while we're talking. And there's a bit of a, you got to be careful cutting this close to your fingers, but hey, we'll just, there were a couple rough patches on this one as well that I'm just going to run a little sandpaper over. Alright, so hide me. You're gonna focus. There we go. But yeah, so that's what we were doing. Okay, that's why I call them rough cut or rustic spoons, because they are very rough. They work great. This one will get finished up with some board butter later, and I'm actually changing out the wood butter. I need to stop messing that up. But yeah, and I still got a few little rough patches here and there that I'm finding. I'm trying to get this done quick because I do want to get something else done today. So while I finish this up, we will yeah, so sorry, half asleep. But yeah, so yep, so that is a rustic spoon. I'm hogging off because I'm tired. See y'all later. Cat in the Hat and Dappy Dap.